Seth, let's look at your 2.03 math module program here. Okay, 3 parts. First, create a word problem. Involves calculating the volume and surface area of a 3-dimensional object. So you can choose the cube, the sphere, the cylinder, cone. Print a description of the word problem. So first, you're going to start out with a print statement. Ask the user to enter the information necessary to perform the calculations. So I would assume you got some input statements. If your calculation needs pi, use 3.14 and then print the results. All right, write the pseudocode. So for a cube, okay, so you've chosen the cube, so you don't need pi because there's no pi in those calculations. The volume is calculated as the side length cubed, correct? And the surface area is calculated as the area of one face and multiplied by 6. That's correct. Yes, 6 s squared times 6. This program asks the user for the necessary dimensions. Great. So that means you've got an input statement, which I guess would just ask for the side length because that's all you need. For a sphere, the radius is required, and for a cylinder, the radius. Are you doing 3 different shapes? So you're doing a cube, a sphere, and a cylinder. Well, going over and above here, apparently. Let's see. Here's your code. Let me copy that while I'm here. Copy. This program has to use the necessary dimensions for a sphere, the radius, for a cylinder, the radius and height. Calculations of space, most volume, surface area. Ran no trouble. Okay, so great. So this should work perfectly. And what you do differently? Nothing. So let's put this in a Python window. Okay, here we go. And I'll take out some of this space just so I can see it all on the screen at one time. All right, there's the whole thing. Let's run it. Error on line 1. Oh, you didn't put the little hashtag. You got to put the comment because it was trying to do Seth White, and it doesn't know what that is in programming. So comment just to say, hey, ignore this line. So you have your name and date. Don't really have purpose of program. But all right, let's try it again. Error line 9. What are all these things? So you define your main function, and then you defined another function called sphere volume. And then you defined another function called sphere surface, and then you defined another function, and then you defined another function like a rectangular prism. That's not even one of the things that we were doing, right? We don't have a rectangular prism. And then you defined 6 functions here. And then ended the main function. So you didn't have an input statement. You define these functions and put all these calculations after it, but math.pi, I don't know that would work. We said to use 3.14 if you needed pi, but and this is a return like it's at the end of the function, but your function didn't do anything. You don't have any input. You didn't input any radius. You didn't give it any height, width. It looks like you went on the internet trying to find different programs, and then you took a little piece of each program and stuck them together in some way that doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. All these are defining new functions. So they would not be part of the main function because these are all, so you have all these different functions that you didn't even do anything with. You defined them and then just left it. That's very confusing. I don't understand quite down here when you said you ran into no trouble. Did you have an output to this when you ran it? Did it actually do something for you? Because once I fixed the comment at the top, it really struggles with all the rest of this. I don't know. Bad input on line 9. Length, width, height. It doesn't know what to do with all this stuff. I don't know. This is all just, like I say, like it's pulled from a whole bunch of different places and thrown together in one program. But none of that is needed. You needed to print a little description of what you want. John is finding the volume and surface area of a cube. If that's what your first thing said it was going to do on your pseudocode. Side equals float, just in case you put some kind of crazy number in there. Input, what is the length of one side? Now I can do something. Now I can calculate. Volume equals power side cubed. Print the volume of the cube is plus string volume. Okay. Run. Oh, line 8 has a. Oh, because we didn't. From math import. And anytime we're using those math functions, we're going to have that from math import thing there. Bad. What's it not like on that? Oh, I didn't close the parentheses on that one. Okay. What's length to one side? 10. So the volume is 1,000. So that's the volume. I didn't calculate the surface area yet, but yeah, I don't know what you were doing, but you should have the little description of the problem. You should have an input statement where they give you a side length of a cube or a radius if you're doing the sphere. I don't know. It looked like you were doing multiple shapes. Do the calculations, print the output. I need to do the same thing for the surface area. So, yeah, your program was really confusing that time. So it looked like you should have got some help with that or something, because it did not do what it should have done. And I don't know that it did anything when you ran it. But according to the questions you answered, hey, it's all hunky-dory. But it wasn't. So I'll get this feedback to you, and we'll see you in class.